Sarah Pomegranate. Where is Dr. Pomegranate? See her. Pardon me. Pardon me, please. Lady wouldn't get out of my way. Looking ever so stylish. Hi.
She wants to know where her friend was.
My fault.
And it's a cold day for her too. It's not like we keep them up in shop, right? There's one in Pennsylvania right across the border. You're almost done. I see them down in Buffalo.
So I had rented a car, so I was like,
Oh my gosh.
kind of driving backwards. And they were like in our shoes, coming up on the platform, getting steered and then back out. It was like one after another.
Is it the first time?
And who was in the golf cart riding around but arrested?
Spinning for this video and I'm winding on instead. Sarah,
Wait, not yet, right? Are you not videoing yet, are you?
Take one for the team.
Now the kiddos are going to spin.
Sweetest little lovey love. You just like your pets, don't you? What's your little sweetheart? Oh my goodness, you have a Roman nose. Okay. Oh my god, we could stay here all day, couldn't we? Oh yeah, you gotta close your eyes. Close your eyes.
Guys, a black-headed Persian. I love
There are 81, 82. What are you going to give me? Everything you told me. $20. What are you going to give me? Somebody give me $50? Anybody get it?
I'm lucky if I get an hour or two today.
Romneys. Your flocks were Carlisle first, Chapin second, Rogers third, the 1, 2, 3 in the book.
As she moves away from us, just one that I think needs a shot more thickness as I view her from behind. Outside of that,
It's very beautiful.
Hey! welcome to Fibertown. This is episode 192. It's the 19th of May, 2017. Oh, yes, I start talking to the computer and look who comes. This is my tiny dog, Alice. She's my tiny best friend, really. How is everyone? I know it's been a bit of a time since I've been here chatting with you. It's just been a little bit crazy. Nothing major, just a lot of minor things happening. And anyway, it's good to be back, and I have a ton to share with you. And it's going to be an interesting show organization-wise because I have a lot to share with you about Maryland Sheep and Wool, which was about 2 weeks ago now. Feels like a lifetime ago. But I'm surrounded by woolly things to share with you. So, we're going to do a few businessy things, then I have some FOs. I have a work in progress, spinning, weaving, sewing, and acquisitions. I'm gonna have to, well, okay, you can stay with me while I do the businessy things. I want to say hello to Evalie, who is Eva from Münster in Germany, and she lives there with her husband and 2 children. Oh yeah, she found my podcast through FiberTrek. Hi, Sarah. And she's just knit a lovage. Excellent. I love that sweater. And now she's doing a Tamar, or a True Friend by, I think that's by Vera Velamaki, out of Tamar. Because of what we chatted about last time regarding long wools and drape. So wonderful. I hope you like it. I hope it turns out well for you. And thank you for saying hi in the Ravelry group. Go and check us out there. It's Fiber Space Town Space Podcast. And speaking of the Ravelry group, we will be having a massive knit-along this summer. It starts in just a few weeks. It's called the Summer of S. It starts June 1st. I need to start a thread soon for that. And all the details will be there, and I've chatted about it already, and I'll chat about it more as the time draws nearer. Yeah. So that's it for business. Let's do FOs. We'll say goodbye to Alice for now. You go back to your nap. It's later in the day than I had planned to podcast. Things again came up with my children today that I had to deal with. Children, they get in the way of the crafting, don't they? Anyway, so I have lights here because if I didn't have a light, half of my face would be in shadow, but there are shadows on the wall over here, so I apologize. Doing the best I can. Before we crack on with the FOs, I'm wearing one of my Anna dresses, and this is knit out of I think Birch Organic double gauze. And I've been wearing it since this morning and enjoying it because it's a million billion degrees here. And in the summer, I love to wear dresses. They are super easy just to put on and not worry about anything. Some flip-flops, a nice dress, and you're good to go. So I have one gigantic FO. And I just realized there are 2 ends I need to weave in still. So this is the Buccaneer by Justina Larkowska. And I so enjoyed knitting this, you guys. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed knitting this. It turned out huge. So, yes, very, very big. And this is knit with 2 yarns. The main color is Handspun Fin that started out as a fleece, a raw fleece, and I dyed it, and I didn't like the dye job, and I over-dyed it, and I didn't really love that dye job either, but I went with it. So it's like a brown, no, it's more of a navy, dusty brown. This right here, this is about what it looks like in real life. So the colorful bits are Gourmet Stash Outlander Rainbow. And yeah, look at it. It starts on this side. This was a mystery knit-along when it first came out. Excuse me. And then it sort of turns a corner here. And it doesn't look real crisp down there, does it? Do you see where the ends are hanging out? That's where the gauge difference in these 2 yarns really became apparent. And I actually crocheted a little bit to sort of fill the gap there. It kind of worked. But it's the coziest. The fin is so scrumptious. And I love it. And so the Gourmet Stash colors, I do mourn for that yarn company. I would love to have those. It's just some of the perfect colors. Love it. So this edge right here looks very continuous with the two different yarns. So kind of bummed about that one spot, but that's okay. It is a lovely, lovely, I wore it a bunch when it was chilly. It's a lovely knit. I took it to the festival and knit on it there. Lots of ways to wear it, I think. With this sort of corner down here is really nice. It's gorgeous. I'm very happy. I love this style. And just a dream to knit, and the yarns, very happy that the yarns are in a project now because they had been waiting to be in a project. And now they are home. The other thing I have going is a pair of shorty socks. And I apologize for all the dipping and bowing. It's chaos around here. So bear with me. Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh, here it is. So shorty socks. These are handspun, Wensleydale and Lincoln. And this one is Lincoln and Wensleydale. And I'm going to call it done because I just have to Kitchener. I was in the doctor's office this morning and didn't have a darning needle as I got to the end of it. But they are fraternal twins. These are my May socks. You won't see them again. I'm just going to say this one is done because of Kitchener. That's it. American Wensleydale, gorgeous, from Gypsy Wools in Colorado. Lincoln from a fleece that I bought at Maryland a year ago, 2 years ago, I don't remember. And those are my needles. There it is. It is a chain plied. It is not super fun to knit with, I have to say. Ooh, the sun just went behind a cloud. But I really adore the fabric it's making. It's shiny, it's variegated. That's not the color it is in real life. Let me see. Not at all the color it is in real life. It's a silvery gray, really. It's gorgeous long wool, shiny. But the yarn, as I said, it's a thin chain ply. It's got such a halo. Can you see the chain right there? Look at that. It's got such a halo that it just grabs onto each other. The stitches grab onto each other. So, sorry. So I'm constantly like ripping them apart. Like teenagers at a dance. That's what this yarn is like. Okay. So, there go my freak dancing socks. Oh, no, actually, these are going to be called the nun socks because, like, N-U-N, because at Maryland I was eavesdropping on Judith Mackenzie talking in the sheep barns about Lincoln sheep. And she said that in the Middle Ages in England, all of the people in the religious orders, monks and nuns, they would have had their clothing made, their outer clothing, made from Lincoln. And it's a super durable wool, very warm, and it was considered very high quality at that time. And so yeah, I'm calling them my nun socks. So I'm sure their inner clothes would have been like linen based. And yeah, those are in here. They're almost done. So moving along to works in progress, I really have been kind of stumped still as far as Knitting Mojo. So I have another pair of socks cast on, and I'll show you those in a second. But with the Buccaneer, you know, I was considering holding off and not finishing it until Stash Dash starts. And then, but I really wanted it done. I really wanted to snuggle in it. So I said to myself, since when do I have to follow anyone else's rules? I'm not entering Stash Dash. I do keep my own track each summer of my Stash Dash. I don't anymore. I don't participate on the threads anymore, but I do it in my heart, you know. So why can't I make my own dates? Because I've always not really loved the dates they keep for Stash Dash. So I decided my Stash Dash would go from Mother's Day, which was May 14th, when I bound off the Buccaneer, to September 1st. Yeah, that's my Stash Dash. And I'll still be playing along with everybody, but I already get to count a bunch of things. So, yeah, Stash Dash has begun already for me. If you want, you can join my Stash Dash. That's cool. So my one work in progress really that's being actively worked on is a new pair of socks. They are out of Mind the Gap by Trailing Clouds. This is a British dye company, and this is a BFL nylon blend. It's been in my stash for years. And over the course of one 8th grade chorus concert, I knit this. Really don't like doing ribbing. The ribbing is just through the black. I don't like doing ribbing on these 9-inch circulars. These are the ChiaoGoo 2.5 millimeters, US 1.5. So 10 rows of ribbing, and yeah, I'm getting to this sort of oddly browny red color and then a pink. So these will be my June socks. Mind the Gap by Trailing Clouds. And I'll just show you right now one of my sewing projects. Oh no, I'll show you different. I'll show you later. Never mind. So that's it. I need to get back to my Camaro sweater. I'm on the hunt for the right yarn for the sleeves still, but I really haven't taken the time to go out and look for a match. So let's talk about spinning. You know what? No, we're going to talk about weaving first because the spinning is under the weaving. I got a new loom. I got a loom at Maryland Sheep and Wool, the one I planned on getting. I got it from the Yarn Barn, and they had looms out that you could try. They're a great business. Lots of little odds and ends that you might need for your spinning and weaving. And someday I want to get a boat shuttle, but I ran out of money at Maryland, so it's on my list. So I got the 32-inch Ashford loom, and I looked at the Knitter's loom. I'm not sure if that's an Ashford or a Shocked. Might be a Shocked, but I think the only plus to that is that it folds up with a warp on it so that you can take it places and weave. I don't want to do that. I wanted a loom that's big enough to get a decent size, decent width cloth, and I didn't want to be traveling with a giant loom. So yeah, it was a good deal. And I've woven 2 bits of scrap fabric. Well, no, it's not scrap fabric now, but it was from Handspun Scraps that were in my, or destined for, or in my granny stripe blanket, which was not floating my boat anymore. It was too heavy and dense, and it was not even a quarter of the way done. So that's gone. In fact, I ripped it all out except for this. And this is like a scarf. Yeah. So this will stay as a scarf, and the rest is going into weaving. So Warp and Weft were both hand spun, and I've shared these on Instagram. They are so much fun. This is the first one I did. This one has been washed. Not all of the ends have been taken care of yet, but soon. And this is just a history of my spinning. I've been spinning maybe for 6 years, 5 or 6 years. I'd have to look at my Ravelry. I put the date I started on Ravelry. So that's the first one. They are 6 feet long and about 30 inches wide. I love this dark brown, it's dark chocolatey brown warp with all the variegated, like that right there, all the variegated weft. So yeah, it's all hand spun scraps and it's magic knotted. So it was a challenge sometimes when the warp ran into a magic knot, just because I had to sometimes retie it or add in sort of a bridge between if the ends were getting too weak. So kind of challenging, but doable. And I'm not looking for perfection. This is scraps, right? Now this one has not been washed, so it will shrink a bit. Oh, this one's so fun. This one had a lot of white in the weft, cream colored rather. In fact, this cream colored weft was the very first, one of the very first yarns I spun. I think it was a cashmere blend. I love this sort of orange and blue warp stripe. Super duper fun. And again, where there was dark warp, like here. Love that. So delightful. I'm going to mattress seam them down the long end and make a blanket. Now here's the thing, weaving it does use yarn, but it doesn't use a crazy amount of yarn, so I have tons of these scraps left still. So we'll see. But folding at Selvage to Selvage, I'm looking at getting usable yardage for sewing tops or even skirts, and I definitely have it. So, you know, this is all wool and wool blends. I need to try maybe some linen. I do have a little bit of linen. It would be harder to keep together at the Selvages. You know, wool doesn't fray very much when you cut it. It does fray some, but I think plant fibers would fray quite a bit. So I'd probably have to do very careful French seams so everything's encased. Yeah. So lots of projects floating around based on what I've been doing with weaving. Okay, so spinning. I have a finished spin. This also went in my stash dash. This is about 1,400 yards of a Coopworth cross. It's a 3-ply. It's just gorgeous. So I've already got over 2,000, oh yeah, over 2,000 yards for my stash dash. Let's see, other spinning I will sort of talk about as we go through acquisitions. In fact, I think we're there, except for my one little sewing project, and that is making more bags for my shop. Now, I am working on it. I have had 0 time. I hope to have some time this weekend. My shop is pretty well empty of bags. I think there's 1 left. And so I started making a new design. These are so cute. Yes, they have platitudes on them, but come on, it's bee platitudes. Oh, beautiful life. Gather happy moments. How cute is that? And it has honeycomb insides. This one is, I really like this one. It's lined with quilt batting, and it does stand up by itself. So it's got a boxed bottom, and it's got a drawstring, and this is fabric that was a gift from my friend Lori. How cute is that? And then, so it has a drawstring, this twill tape. I love single-ended drawstrings. I just find them very handy. So it does have some body to it, but not tons. Not that you can't, you know, fold it up and stick it in your backpack or your larger handbag. So I'll be making some of these as well as some others. And yeah, so the shop making will begin this weekend. Well, the rest is just scrap, 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 and Maryland Sheep and Wool talk. So let me just tell you how the weekend went, and hopefully I have tons of video footage. Hopefully I've gotten most of that interspersed in here and or at the beginning or the end, because I have a lot to share. So we went up early Saturday morning. It was gray, it was freezing, it was drizzling at times, and this was the first year where they had charged an entrance fee. And it was going to be a toss-up whether the people who pre-bought tickets would get in faster or the people who were paying cash would get in faster. And most people were betting on the cash thing. I pre-bought my tickets, had like an e-ticket, and I got in, no problem. Went right in. We actually got up there much later than anticipated because we got in our car and it started making terrible noises. So we drove it to the garage, and yeah, it needed major stuff done to it. So we took our other car and then got a phone call for a major car repair bill that we had to swallow that day. So that did put a bit of a damper on the weekend for us, I won't lie. I went up with my husband Jaime, and but we managed to have a good time. So when we did get there later than expected, we took all our stuff and went in, and we set up our chairs, sort of our hangout area, in a tent. And so we were protected more or less from the elements, so that was nice. And then we had friends that just sort of gathered around that area all day long. My friend Sarah Pomegranate was there, Megan, Magnolia 13, gosh, I hope I don't leave people out. I'm terrible at remembering. My friends Leanne and Sarah, Flonez and Jen, and oh gosh, some of her friends, some of Megan's friends. Oh, my friend Angie came. I only see her once a year now at Maryland, but it's always a delight. So we had food, and we hung out and spun, and we knit and chatted. And so the first thing I bought, I went straight to the fleece tent. And in fact, I found myself skipping, like literally a grown woman skipping down the fairway. People were laughing at me. I really stopped caring a long time ago. Yeah. I think I'm going to be really a weird old lady because I'm already there talking to myself and skipping down the fairway. So, so I went into the fleece tent. And there were a lot fewer fleeces this year. In fact, I talked to a volunteer, there were 400 fewer fleeces. So about 800, whereas last year there were 1,200. And some surprises for me. There were not a lot of fins, and the fins that were there were exorbitantly priced. You know, $40 a pound. Apparently the shepherd didn't want anyone to buy them, and probably wanted to get them judged only and then take them somewhere else. So I was kind of thinking I wanted a fin, but I didn't get a fin. I got really well-priced fleeces this year, actually. The other thing I wanted was maybe a Jacob again. But again, not very many, just a handful. And it was the weather, for the most part, I think, because, you know, for a lot of farms, it had been a cold winter and they had not shorn. They had not sheared yet. And it had rained the week before, so the fleece were damp. You can't shear a wet sheep. So, yeah, that was the reason. But what I did get... Hello. I'm going to show some wool now, so you can't be up here. I got a Clun Forest and a Tunis. So, let's talk about the Clun Forest first. The Clun Forest is a down... I'll talk more about I didn't really look up all the particulars. This is the raw fleece, and yeah, there is sort of a striation of dirt in there, right there. It is a down-like breed, meaning that's not the prettiest area here. Boom, aren't they pretty? There's some prettier locks. But yeah, that's a curious little striation, isn't it? But it's washing out just fine. This is the washed Clun Forest. There we go. Lovely, lovely locks. It has sort of, I believe, like a spiral crimp. Yeah, it definitely does. So it doesn't felt easily, if at all. And I believe it's I feel like it's a Welsh breed. I'm sorry, I have not really looked up the particulars, referencing you back to the crazy times around here. I've washed all of this so far. It's washed up beautifully, and I've spun samples. Let's see, this Clun Forest was a Maryland sheep from Ron Allen at Shepherd's Knoll Farm. And that's in Phoenix, Maryland, and it was 4.75 pounds. So where is it? Is it in here? Yes. I carded some locks and I combed some locks, and then I spun them. This is my little cop of carded spun singles. This is my combed and spun singles, supported, drop supported. So that's the Clun Forest. So just really nice quality. It's doing exactly what I would like it to do. The second I got in my first round at the fleece sale was a Tunis. And I will talk more about it as we go along, but this was a 5-pound fleece, and this was from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, Pamela and Deb Jennings Kramer from the Iron Pheasant Farm. And again, these were all, under $10 a pound, so really good deals. This one is greasier. This is the raw. And they're actually kind of hard to tell apart, a little bit hard to tell apart when they're washed. But the way I'm telling apart the washed Tunis is that the tips are keeping a little bit more dirt than the Clun Forest, where the tips are quite clean. Tunis, Clun Forest. The Tunis has a more, they have different crimps, but just at first glance, they're hard to tell apart. And the crimp of the Clun Forest travels further up the lock, whereas the crimp on the Tunis seems to be concentrated more on the tips, whereas in the top is just this sort of poof, 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 poof. So I spun up carded and drop spindled Tunis and combed and supported spindled Tunis. So this has more of a luster than the Clun Forest, which is more matte, although I'd say the locks are roughly the same length. And when you do have them prepared, they are slightly different whites, although you can't really tell. This is the Tunis, and it's a little bit more yellow than the Clun Forest. Yeah. Now, I did go back to the fleece sale when I bumped where I went to meet up with Sarah Pomegranate, and I think I have a video of me stalking her and pouncing on her in the fleece sale. And we looked around and she bought a beautiful fleece that she talks about on her podcast at Yarns at Yin Hu. And we found one that we wanted to share, and I'm looking for my little sampling of that. Here it is. We found a Hog Island. It was raised by Lydia Chamelin, who is the daughter. She's small. I think she does, maybe the livestock, the youth conservation program was where she had this. I don't know. I'm just making this up, but it's a possibility. So she raised this Hog Island sheep. It was a 4-pound fleece, raised in Maryland, and it was a really good fleece compared to the other Hog Island that I got from Mount Vernon. I would say this is probably on the level, quality-wise, as the dark Hog Island that I got from Ross Farm, which was gorgeous quality. So, let me show you the locks. The whole fleece, Sarah Pomegranate and I split it. And this is it. And just in general, I'm finding that the darker Hog Island fleeces are more consistent in quality and staple length and all that stuff. All the characteristics you want. So this is the tip end. It's sort of brownish. And Hog Island can be very inconsistent. It has not been raised for its wool for a long time. I have 2 pounds of it. I didn't actually measure how much I had after carding, but I love this. I love it. So staple length, I don't know, is that a little bit more than an inch? But it is sound. It is so elastic, you guys. Look at that. Look at that. Compared to, say, Clun. You can see it's visually elastic. So I am super excited. I combed and carded, and I really prefer all of these wools. I prefer them all combed. This was the combed, supported spindled, and this was the carded and drop spindled. So, oh my gosh, it is dropping so much chaff on my table. So yeah, my spinning wheel is covered with dirt and chaff from all my fleece spinning, and these fleeces will be no exception, especially that Hog Island. So very, very fun fleece purchasing and fleeces that did not break the bank. So I have so much to spin. I have a Gotland still that I need to prepare, so I might be getting a Corriedale. We'll see. So I'll tell you more about that Corriedale if it happens. All right, so just a few other acquisitions, really. No, it is not your time yet. It is not your time to get cuddled. Some other places I really wanted to go. Please don't make that face at me. It's very cute. Boop. Some other places I wanted to go. This was my Ashford instructions. Got this really cool it's a magazine catalog. It's more of a magazine from the Ashford Company. One of the places I really wanted to go, and I misspoke last time about this particular vendor, I called her Little Teapot Designs, and that was her first business name. And now she is Middlebrook Fiberworks. And this is her Cormo Merino Shetland Alpaca Silk. And the Shetland in here is direct from Shetland. And it was, you know Oliver Henry? You know Oliver Henry, right? He is the wool classer for Jamieson and Smith. Anne, went to Shetland and spoke with him, and apparently she got some merino Shetland and brought it back with her to the States, and it was the stuff that was classed as a Vera fine, according to Oliver Henry. So, this is a luscious, beautiful yarn, dyed by Anne. She does amazing things. She has gorgeous products. She does natural dyeing as well. I don't think this is naturally dyed, but she said, what are you going to make with it? I said, I just want it. I just want to have it. And in fact, this might go to a friend of mine. I have plans. But wouldn't this make a beautiful color work with something white as well? So, Middlebrook Fiberworks. She has her own Shetland sheep now. And they are just full of personality, and I think they're a little spoiled. What else? This was my catalog. I got some hobbledehoy. And I spun a little bit while I was there. These are Middle Earth batlings. They're Polworth and espresso bamboo. So I wanted something, also teal bamboo. I wanted something without sparkle, and it does have a little sparkle in it. I think you just can't get all the sparkle off the drum carder, and that's fine, but I'm not enjoying spinning sparkle anymore. What are you gonna do? So I wanted some of her art bats, but she had an injury and couldn't work the carder that makes the art bats, so that was a little bit sad. But it gave me money. To get a Jenny the Potter. There's her maker's mark. Look at that, that's new. This is my 4th Jenny the Potter mug. They are treasures. I wasn't planning on getting one. In fact, my friend Sarah, who is obsessed with getting these at the festival, she texted me and said, do you want one? And I was like, So the festival was much more sparsely attended than in the past. The weather was terrible. It was freezing. But yeah, it was really surprising. I'd never been able, yes, it did get crowded later in the day on Saturday, and it was crowded on Sunday too. But yeah, I could walk around the barns early in the morning, no problem. The vendor barns. So yeah, even Jenny the Potter, which she sells out right away, she still had mugs on Saturday afternoon. So I just love my new crows. I think they're wonderful. I think maybe she has new facilities and she can produce more as well. She might have had more stock this year. So I'm looking around to see if there's anything else I want to share with you. How much have I been talking? Ooh, a long time. I have a lot of footage of Maryland Sheep and Wool. And let me just sort of glance at these and tell you. Okay, no, I'm not going to be able to. Well, let's see. What is there footage of? There was a BFL ewe that just wanted me to pet her. She just wanted me to stroke her big Roman nose. And I did that for a while, and she closed her eyes and had a little nap. I watched a lot of sheep judging. There was some Black Romneys I watched. I watched some Lincoln judging. Saw some Jacobs and some new to me sheep, some Barbados Black Belly, which looked like a hair sheep to me. I saw some Icelandic rams all snuggled up together. Like maybe they were wethers, but small children dressing their lambs in like pajamas and parading them around on a leash. Some wonderful shearing. What else? It was muddy in some of the areas for sure. Oh, the auction. I missed the podcaster meetup. I knew I was going to. But I did get to say hi to a fair few number of people, and that was lovely as always. That's one of the highlights for me of this weekend. I got to have dinner with some great friends. I got to see Janice Ficker. I haven't seen her in a long time. And yes, got to have dinner with the Ross Farm folks, Scooter Pie and Amy and Heather and Sarah and her husband, and we all had a delicious dinner together. Had some fried chicken. It's just amazing. Yeah, and then the next morning, Sunday morning, is Sheep to Shawl. Oh, I forgot to talk about the auction. The auction. Oh my gosh, insane. That's what I missed the podcaster meetup for. It's amazing, you guys. Oh, so much stuff. And the auctioneer, it's all the stuff is in a tent and the auction is outside. So it wasn't very pleasant, but people were out there bidding. And I think it's not very pleasant when it's hot either because there's no shade. That whole thing needs to be tented. But it's massive. Massive looms, dozens of spinning wheels, Canadian production wheels, great wheels, all sorts of wheels. And speaking of looms and wheels, the Sheep to Shawl contest on Sunday morning is so much fun. There was a Blues Brother team, meaning they had costumes. They were all the Blues Brothers. And you shear the sheep, you sort the wool, you card the wool, you spin the wool, you weave it into a shawl. It's a massive undertaking. They plan, they practice, they do trial runs. Oh, it's great. And the Flying Geese team won this year, I think. But there was a team, the team that always really does the costumes was the one from New York. Last year they were Alice in Wonderland. This year they were Hairspray, the Hairspray characters. So you will probably see them in the video. I adore this festival, and I look forward to it next year. Okay, so until next time, you guys take care and enjoy the footage.